I still remember the way the rain clung to my coat as I rushed into that small roadside motel somewhere off a quiet highway in Oregon. My phone had no signal, my car had just broken down, and the storm outside felt like it had no intention of letting up. The lobby smelled faintly of coffee and old wood, warm in contrast to the chaos outside. That's when I saw him. He was already at the front desk, tall, slightly tense, running a hand through his damp hair as he spoke to the clerk. Something about him felt familiar, not in "I know you" kind of way, but in a "you're going to matter" kind of way. The clerk sighed and looked between us. Last room. One bed. I laughed softly, more out of disbelief than humor. Of course. He turned to me then, meeting my eyes for the first time. There was hesitation there, but also kindness. I shrugged, trying to play it off casually. I mean, it's a big bed, right? The words slipped out before I could stop them. He blinked, caught off guard. Then after a pause, he said, almost too quickly, "I'll take the sofa." Something about that answer made me smile. Because suddenly, this strange night didn't feel so uncomfortable anymore, it felt like the beginning of something I didn't yet understand. We walked to the room together, the silence between us not awkward, just new. Like two people trying to figure out the rhythm of each other's presence. When the door opened, I let out a small breath of relief. The room was simple, but clean. A queen-sized bed sat in the center, and off to the side was a small couch that looked just barely long enough for someone to sleep on. He noticed it too. "Yeah. I'll manage," he said, setting his bag down like he had already made peace with it. I leaned against the wall, watching him. "You don't have to be a hero, you know." He gave a small smile. "Not trying to be. Just respectful." That word lingered. Respectful. Most guys wouldn't even think twice. But he had. Without hesitation. I slipped off my wet jacket and sat on the edge of the bed. "I'm Emma, by the way." "Daniel," he replied. There it was, that small shift. Names made it real. We started talking then. About the storm. About how we both ended up here. About nothing and everything at once. And as the minutes passed, I realized something surprising. I wasn't uncomfortable sharing a room with him. If anything, I felt strangely safe. The rain kept falling, relentless against the window, like the world outside had dissolved into noise and motion. But inside that room, everything felt still. Daniel sat on the edge of the couch, scrolling through his phone, probably hoping for a signal that wasn't coming. I lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rhythm of the storm. "You ever notice," I said softly, "how storms make everything feel more honest?" He looked up, curious. "Honest?" "Yeah. Like, you can't pretend things are fine when they're not. Everything just is what it is." He thought about that for a moment, then nodded. "I guess that's true." Silence again, but this time it was deeper. Comfortable. I turned my head to look at him. "So, why the sofa?" He smiled faintly, almost embarrassed. "Because you shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable." I studied him, really looked this time. There was sincerity in his eyes, no hidden agenda, no expectation. Just kindness. And suddenly, I felt something shift inside me. Because in a world where people often took what they could, he was choosing to give space instead. And that made me wonder, what kind of man does that? Time passed differently that night. Conversations stretched longer, laughter came easier, and the storm outside seemed to fade into the background. We talked about everything, childhood dreams, regrets, the strange turns life takes. At some point, I sat up, pulling my knees close. "You know, you're not what I expected." He raised an eyebrow. "Good or bad?" "Good," I said softly. "Unexpectedly good." He chuckled, shaking his head. "I'll take that." I glanced at the couch again, then back at him. "Be honest," I said. "That thing looks uncomfortable." It's fine. It's not fine. He shrugged. I've had worse. I exhaled, then made a decision before I could overthink it. You know, I said, trying to sound casual, the bed is big enough. He froze for just a second. Not awkward, just surprised. I don't want you to feel. I don't, I cut in gently. That's the point. The room went quiet again. But this time it wasn't uncertainty. It was something else. Something closer. He hesitated before moving, like he was carefully stepping across an invisible boundary. I appreciated that. It meant he understood that this wasn't just about space, it was about trust. He sat on the far edge of the bed, leaving a respectful distance between us. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I promise I don't snore, I said lightly, breaking the tension. He laughed. That's reassuring. We adjusted awkwardly at first, figuring out where to place arms, how much space to take. But slowly, naturally, it settled. Not forced. Not uncomfortable. Just shared. The lights dimmed, leaving only the soft glow from the lamp. I turned slightly, facing away, but aware of him just behind me. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I felt calm. Like somehow, in this strange, unexpected situation, I had ended up exactly where I was supposed to be. Sleep didn't come easily. Not because I was uncomfortable, but because my mind wouldn't slow down. I could feel his presence behind me, not touching, just there. Steady. Safe. Hey, I whispered. Yeah, he replied quietly. You awake? Yeah. I smiled to myself. Me too. We both let out a soft laugh. Can I ask you something? I said. Sure. Why are you really okay with all this? There was a pause before he answered. Because I trust you. Simple. Honest. And somehow, powerful. I turned slightly, just enough to see his face in the dim light. And if I didn't trust you? I asked. He met my gaze. Then I'd be back on the couch. That answer stayed with me. Because it wasn't about the situation. It was about choice. And respect. And something deeper I couldn't quite name yet. At some point, the distance between us felt unnecessary. Not because of anything physical. But because emotionally, we weren't strangers anymore. I shifted slightly, my hand brushing his by accident. Neither of us pulled away immediately. Instead, there was a pause, a moment where everything felt suspended. Sorry, I whispered. It's okay, he said, just as softly. But neither of us moved. And in that stillness, something changed. Not dramatic. Not overwhelming. Just real. The kind of connection you don't expect, but recognize instantly when it happens. Morning came quietly. The storm had passed, leaving behind a soft golden light that filtered through the curtains. I woke slowly, aware of the warmth beside me before I even opened my eyes. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then I remembered. And surprisingly, I smiled. Daniel was still asleep, peaceful, like the tension from the night before had melted away. I studied his face for a second, then looked out the window. Everything felt different. Lighter. Like something had shifted, not just in the world, but in me. We packed quietly, the unspoken weight of departure hanging between us. Outside, the world had returned to normal, but I hadn't. Guess this is it, I said, trying to sound casual. Yeah, he replied. But neither of us moved to leave. I took a breath. Or, maybe it's not. He looked at me, hopeful but careful. Coffee? I added. A small smile spread across his face. I'd like that. And just like that, what started as only one bed left became something neither of us expected.